Welcome, Neil here from Redflare Models, and I'm working on a weathering of a Mos Eisley diorama. It's a street scene that I'm making at the moment. It's going to be around about 2 meters long, so it's a big beast. And right now I'm just building the individual sections up, and what I have on the bench at the moment is I've made some of the buildings. They've been made with foam, coated in a substance called jessamite, which is a bit like plaster but really hard and solid when it sets. It's used in the kind of film industry and theatres. And so I've kind of got those, and I've kind of just laid a basic acrylic colour on them at the moment. And what I want to do now is show you the technique for just weathering them slightly for that kind of lived-in look. So on the bench at the moment is an example here where I've got this one here is a wall panel that I made previously, and I've painted it, done the door and everything, and I've used in various techniques which I was going to show you today. I've got a pipe here, but that's just for positional. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work on this big one at the back. It is one of the main buildings. It's going to be actually a cantina, a bar area, so there's going to be some awning and things over the top. But I want to show you some of the techniques that I'm going to use today to kind of weather that up. So I've got a mixture of colours here and some basic paint brushes, some very large and wide paint brushes, obviously for the stippling. So these are just got big heads to them. I've got my palette and a sponge, a little tiny sponge there. Bit of paper towel, which I'm going to use to take off some of the paint when I put it on. So we've got sandstone colour for the lighter. This one here is a US Earth Yellow from Vallejo. Green Stuff World is just a medium earth, and the rest are just basically burnt umber, mahogany, German red, and mud brown. So it's German red brown, sorry, and mud brown. And those will give us the kind of colours that I want to use. So the first real colour that I want to apply is going to actually be the German red brown. So I'm going to move these out the way. Back there, just move those. And I'm going to put a generous dollop in here. Now you can see that. There we are. Just a little bit in here. And I'm going to take just a medium-sized brush. I'm going to dab it in, and then using a bit of paper towel, take some off, but I want a decent amount of paint still on here. I'm going to apply that to the bottom. Now that's quite a significant amount, if you can see. So what I'm going to do is take my sponge, a little bit of water, and dab that over the top, just to take that colour back. Even using the sponge in here, and go on the side here. So this will be the first colour that I'm applying, and all the other colours will go on top. So I want to be able to take an area and reduce that down. I'm going to use actually a bit of paper towel, just to take some of that off. Now I'm starting with the darker colours, and that's only because what I want to be able to do is add the lighter colours afterwards, and they will obviously give me a little bit of effect to lighten this deep red brown. So there's the sponge, a little bit of water on it. So I'm mixing between the two, the brush and the sponge, just so I get the sponge softens the brush. So obviously that's a large area there. You want a nice stain on the wall. And what I'm also going to do is down here, down the way. And this is again about layering, so it's just slowly building up these colours with the effect that you want to do. A little bit here. I'm going to brush this down as well because I want a little bit of an effect where this is stained. And if you look, so this is part of Mos Eisley, and if you look at a lot of the photographs from any of the movies, or some stills from the scenes where they've the streets in Tunisia where they've built them, you will see that there is a lot of these stain effects that they've added. I'm just going to change a brush here. And that's really because over time, weather would have eroded. There might have been stain in there, a piece of metal or something like that. So really what they've done is they've applied that to the movie set. So I'm trying to go for the similar effect here of staining this. And immediately you've already got some texture, and I want it underneath here. So I'm just literally very light amount of paint, tiny amount. I don't know if you can see that, just a tiny amount of paint on there. You can't really see, so that's even too much. I'm going to get in there. As I say, this is one of the main cantinas for the diorama. So I've done that, and I'm going to just soften that now with the sponge, with a bit of water on. And then afterwards I'll take out and add some more light colour to it. Get rid of. So that's the first colour. I'll come back to that. So now I'm going to apply some standard mud brown. Give it a good shake. There we are, mud brown from Vallejo. But any equivalent, as long as it's liquid enough. I use Model Air a lot, mainly because I do a lot of airbrushing, but also it's quite liquid and comes out quite quickly from the pot, so I don't have to thin it, apart from adding sometimes a bit of water if I'm doing light washes. There we are. Let's just move that out of the way. You got that. So applying that, in more of a stippling motion now, and that is just lightening that colour down. Actually, I'll put that on there, because the red obviously can get a bit too much. And I'm just applying this in any random locations that I want this effect to come off. Use a bit of water. There we are. And obviously I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm just showing you now the front face. So the door has got to be painted. This is actually for a big project, as I mentioned. So I've got quite a bit of work to do. I think I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got about 7 or 8 buildings to do, including staircases. So there's quite a bit of work involved in this scene. This is a 1/12 scale for standard kind of Bandai kits. So there's various kits that are going to be part of this model. So the next one that I'm going to use is just the medium earth from Green Stuff World. Needs a good shake, I'm afraid. So and that's much more of a brown colour there. Just there, that's much more of a brown colour rather than a sand. Or not. So again, get a brush. It's actually quite a dark colour. So there we are. That's the red and that's the brown, and you can see, you can't really tell on the here too well. Let's just take that down. As I say, it's quite a dark colour, so I'm only going to apply this quite sparingly in certain areas where it would have been needed around here. As I mentioned, I'm going to use some of the lighter colours now on top, just to take that. Okay, you can see immediately it's I think, you know, it's already starting to show a lot of weathering. So one of my favourite colours that I'm using at the moment is this Green Stuff World Sandstone. It is a lot lighter and really just takes back some of this colour. So I'll just show you. It's a very, very neutral colour. I'll show you that there. So I'm just going to get any other brushes. And what you'll see when I apply this is it's a lot paler. It's got a pale feel to it. There we are. That's taken that down. Hopefully you can see that on the video. I'll take some pictures as well. But what it's doing is it's just bringing some highlights. And I'm tending to brush down at the moment, so use this to highlight areas of light. It's quite difficult at the bottom here. What I'm going to do is also kind of pop out the areas. And one of the other colours that I use as well is a standard kind of very light grey to pick out some tone around here and along the edges where light would, the sunlight would catch the edges. So it's as simple as that. It's just a matter of just keep going and layering this. I'm going to, skip the video now and just carry on, and then come back to where I've done more of the sides, and I'll show you the finished product in a minute. And there we have it, a suitably weathered building that I'm going to now finish off the door and the other kind of bits and pieces, the awning and other things. But as you can see, finished the dome on top here and made that look really, really nice. I have kind of obviously weathered around the door and the windows. This is all going to be covered in. There's going to be some people, kind of figures standing outside here, so they're going to cover most of this, but there's going to be, you know, we'll put some crates and boxes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please subscribe or like below, and you know, watch out for my new videos in the future. See you soon.